Hello Internet, my name is Lave and I watched Justice League, the latest film in the DC Extended Universe, which picks up after the events of Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice. With Superman gone, Bruce Wayne and Diana Prince have to recruit new superheroes to help them fight Steppenwolf and his parademons from taking over the world. So objectively, this film does deliver on its plot premise. Batman and Wonder Woman do recruit the Flash and Aquaman and Cyborg, and they do fight Steppenwolf. Yay, it's very, very straightforward, and it's very, very unremarkable, and that really, really saddens me. The Justice League, the first time we are seeing the Justice League on the big screen, and it's unremarkable. Honestly, I so badly want this extended universe to work, but after this film finished, I was driving home, and I just felt sad. I've got to be honest, I just felt sad. So this film is directed by Zack Snyder, and for those who don't know, he suffered a family tragedy whilst making this film, and he had to step down. I mean, he had to step down from directing it, and I completely understand it. It's really tragic, and I really feel for him. Like, family comes first, so he had to go. And Joss Whedon was brought in to direct, and he reshot, and personally I think it does show. For me, it definitely feels like it's more of a Joss Whedon film than it is a Zack Snyder film, which does mean that it's much lighter in tone and full of humour and his wit, and a lot of it landed for me. I chuckled a lot at Ezra Miller's performance of the Flash. I really liked Jason Momoa as Aquaman. He has a really funny, truthful moment, and Batman is even quite funny in this film. It's all quite pleasant. It's not like Thor Ragnarok where I laughed throughout the entire film, like laughed really hard. I chuckled quite a lot through this film, but I do think that maybe it swings too far that way, to the point where I think it's bordering on campy. It's very, very cheesy in moments. There's one scene with a news reporter. I was like, what the hell is this? Another area where this film has suffered is the CG. It reminded me of a 90s TV sitcom. It's really surprising to see, considering this is a $300 million blockbuster film. It's really quite woeful in some scenes. Most notably with Cyborg, I just didn't believe that his suit was actually a part of him. And then you've got Steppenwolf, this completely CG big baddie. He's so bland in character and design. Steppenwolf is easily the weakest villain I've seen on screen for a long time. I mean, it's even worse than Malekith from Thor the Dark World, even though they've got very similar story arcs, which is basically just left to Wonder Woman to spout exposition to Bruce Wayne, and you see it in flashbacks, and it's actually quite interesting. I wanted to see more of that. I think there is a really good story in there as well, and interestingly, it really reminded me of Lord of the Rings. There are certain events and things that happen and lines of dialogue which have been directly lifted from Lord of the Rings. I'm not kidding. So Steppenwolf is very bland, but that's okay because this is all about the Justice League and the team members, and they do have their moments. The film picks up with Batman and Wonder Woman. You see Batman being Batman. It's awesome. And you see Wonder Woman being Wonder Woman. I really like that. It is awesome. And they do have some lovely exchanges of dialogue and interactions. Batman is very much challenging Wonder Woman to step up to the plate and be the leader, and she's reserved about that. Batman is old and weary, and I don't know if that's Ben Affleck tired of being Batman. But, yeah. And the rest of the team do have some nice interactions as well, like the Flash and Cyborg are just like, wow, this is so weird, we're so out of our depth here. That's really nice, but they don't get enough time to shine, and it just confirms my thoughts that they should have done solo movies to build up to this. I don't know why they didn't do it. Again, it just feels like set up to other potential stories like Flashpoint, which, yeah, it does sound interesting, but I'm not sure if it's gonna get there, and I wanted this to be more of a complete film. It does feel like a bit of a mess, not in the same way that Batman v Superman was. That was just overcomplicated and overcrowded. This one is very patchy. It just feels like a string of amusing moments with really bland and unremarkable superhero action. that's how I feel about it, I'm afraid. So that's my thoughts on Justice League, and pause the video if you want to take a closer look at my enjoyment tracker now. As you can see from my enjoyment tracker, it's not the worst film that I've seen. It just kind of trundles along doing its thing, but this is a Justice League film and I wanted my enjoyment to be up here. This is what I wanted. If anything, Justice League just confirms to me that Warner Brothers and DC haven't completely figured out what direction they want to take this film in. It very much feels like sketch work and not a complete final product. We're 5 movies into this DC extended universe and it still feels like it's a work in progress. Admittedly, they have taken some positive steps, but I have to go into spoilers, so that is your warning. I'm going to talk some spoilers now, so if you haven't seen the film, then go away. So one of my biggest gripes about this franchise is the fact that they never got Superman right. I mean, Man of Steel was just set up and it was going somewhere, okay, it was slightly different, but then Batman v Superman, it just didn't feel like the Superman that I wanted. And he's back in this, and yes, okay, it feels more traditional and he does have his moments. When they first bring him back, I absolutely love that scene when he fights them and he's not really sure who he is. That's an awesome fight scene. I really, really enjoyed it. And when he finally dons his suit again, it was a moment that I was eagerly waiting. I was thinking, come on, this is going to be my Superman. And yes, it does get there, but there is something blocking me. There's this wall which made me not engage with it, and that is this whole mustache thing, and it's so ridiculous, I can't believe I'm even talking about it. So for those who don't know, Henry Cavill is in production shooting Mission Impossible 6, where his character has a moustache, so he had to come back and do reshoots with a moustache. I honestly didn't pay much attention to this when it was breaking news. I thought, this isn't news, this is fake news. Surely Warner Brothers would just say to the production company of Mission Impossible, look, we will pay for the most realistic glue-on moustache ever, problem fixed. But instead, they try to CG out his moustache in this, and it's so weird, so odd looking. I couldn't help but notice it. That for me has ruined the triumphant return of Superman. I mean, you get some iconic moments where he opens up his shirt and you get the S. Great. He uses his breath for the first time. Great. He smiles in this, but I couldn't connect with it because he didn't really look like he was there. Ironically, this whole moustache thing sums up how I feel about the Justice League. You are seeing these characters which you've grown up with and you love and adore, but they've tried to cover up the problems and it still shows through. I feel really sad about it. So that's my thoughts on Justice League. If you've seen it, let me know what you thought about it. Interestingly, I spoke to a mate who saw it independently of me and he didn't notice the whole Superman moustache thing. So I guess it's not noticeable, but for me, I noticed it and I'm jealous of anyone who didn't because it did ruin it for me. Again, we're just going to have to wait and see where the DC extended universe goes from here. I will still go and see them in the hope that it's going to get there. Surely it will at some point, but it's still a work in progress for me. So thanks very much for watching my review of Justice League. I really do appreciate it. If you can, give this video a like and don't forget to share the lave. I'm Superman and I'm back and I don't look weird. Subscribe.